What up, doe? What up, doe? We are back again, as we promised, with another episode of Alliance 411. Even with the season being over before Sunday's game was played, still got a lot of things to talk about. Stuff that's happening today, stuff that happened over the course of the weekend. So we're going to jump into that pretty soon. But of course, King Keith, you already know who I am. You already know y'all can follow me. Instagram, Twitter, all those things at _ Dr. King Strain. And I'm going to pass it over to my co-host.
All right. What up, world? It is your girl, CB. You can follow Lions 411 Podcast on TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can follow 411 Lions. We will be covering the offseason. We'll cover the draft. We'll cover anybody that gets traded, any signings. Y'all got us for the long haul. We are not taking any pauses, any breaks, even off-season, random April, we will be there. We'll be covering all the way until the 2026 season starts. But let's talk about the last game. The Lions sweep Chicago Bears in the division. Detroit had 19. Chicago ended with 16. Couple notable stats. Looks like the Bears gave up 433 yards to Detroit. Shout out to the Bears defense because you look terrible. But you go on to the playoffs. I don't think you're gonna win, but it's all right. The Lions had 311 in pass yards. Rush yards, we had 122. Chicago only had 65. We had 26 first downs. Chicago only had 16. We were 6 of 13 on third down. Chicago was 4 of 11. We had 72 plays to Chicago's 52. Both of us had one turnover. Time of possession, 35 minutes Detroit, 24 minutes Chicago. All right, season finale. Chicago scored 16 points in the fourth quarter. It was not enough to make the comeback. Lions iced the game on a game-winning field goal. Shout out to Jake Bates. What happened that game? What happened?
I was glad to see the fight that the Lions showed. I know that we called them out a little bit the past few weeks for just kind of not looking like a Dan Campbell team that we have seen the past few years. And they showed a lot of fight, and that's what I wanted to see. I know people are like, "Oh, well, draft position and all these other things, scheduling, whatever." The scheduling and stuff works itself out because the Lions still finished in fourth, even with the winning record. They get the fourth place schedule, which looks very, very appetizing. But they also were able to go out and beat the Chicago Bears, which I think sent a really good message. Let the Bears know, hey, y'all got it this year. You know, we struggled. We had some games where we just didn't play like ourselves, whatever. It happens. But just know, next year we're going to be back. Because this year we weren't off, per se. We really were just off during the middle of the season. Beating the Bears twice was a really good message to send. And there's no, like, hate towards Ben Johnson or anything like that, but I do think that it feels good to send him that message, like, just so you know, this is still the foundation here. This is the blueprint. I know that y'all had a really good season and y'all ran up some wins for sure, and had some fluky stuff kind of go their way. But Chicago has earned everything they got. Good luck to them moving forward in the playoffs. But it was really good to see the Lions show some fight. I love seeing the wide receivers on their same kind of energy, like celebrating, showy, happy, taking care of business. Like the running backs ran hard. The offensive line gave some push. Like the defense played spirited. They played hard. They looked like they really wanted to win this game. So I was impressed. I was impressed that the Lions showed some fight because they could have went out there and been like, all right, we're going to rest. Like, some guys had some ailments and some small injuries and things like that. They could have just been like, it's whatever, end of the season. Let's just get ready for next year. But they went out there and they sent the message and let the Bears know, like, we are not going anywhere. We will be back next year. So I thought that was really positive. So overall in the field, I mean, schematically, they look decent. I think they should have scored more than 19 points, obviously, having 433 total yards.
Yes.
And that'll be a thing to work on in the offseason. And Lions, we'll talk about the offensive coordinator and how they're designing the offense later on in the episode. But I think that's definitely a thing to work on, and I'm glad that they were able to win this game, but also realizing that still is a thing that they need to work on, is that red zone offense. Red zone, third down, all that kind of stuff is really where the Lions got to get better next year. So yeah, I was happy to see the win. I was happy to see Aiden Hutchinson finish with 14 and a half sacks this year, 100 pressures, like led the NFL in pressure steal. Good to see him come back. I'm ready to see him be better next season. We'll talk again later on in the offseason about who needs to come back, who doesn't need to come back, all those kind of things. But it was good to see the guys go out and play well. Jack Campbell finishing the season off strong. I think him and Hutchinson should both contend for all pro teams. Jack Campbell, in particular, should make an all pro team this offseason. So,
I think he
um,
will.
yeah, very, very much deserving. Top 5 linebacker in the league this season. So,
Oh yeah.
um, a lot of good things. Definitely a lot of good things. And I feel good about the Lions going into next season. And the fact that they still managed to win a record and that fourth place schedule, seeing that they're going to play the Giants and the Cardinals and the Titans next year. It feels good. It does feel good. Wish they were playing in the playoffs. I still think this team can beat anybody on any given Sunday, but that's just not the way the breaks went this year.
Yeah, I definitely say what I saw with the game. Like you said, I definitely saw the fight. I definitely appreciate the fight. Now, it was kind of weird. The Lions did give up that 16 all in the fourth quarter. But I will say that the offense looked better during the game. I mean, Chicago let Detroit run up and down the field, all up and down the field. Now, did we always score in the red zone? Like you said, no. I believe we were maybe 1 of 4. Did we always score in the red zone? No. But I definitely like to see us at least get a sweep and at least get a division win because obviously this year we lost to Green Bay twice and we lost to the Vikings twice. So it's definitely good to see us get the Chicago win. I will say with our division, with the Bears being 11-6, right? That's what 11-6, and then the Lions finishing 9-8. People, it ain't that big of a difference. It's not that far. That's how close this division is. That's how hard fought and tough this division was. But I definitely feel that if you had told me that the Lions wouldn't be making the playoffs before the season, I wouldn't have believed it. And even the team that I saw on paper, beat the Bears, I was just thinking in my head, like, this team is too talented not to be in the playoffs right now. I wanted to see them. I mean, our division was tight. I don't think the Lions were prepared for how good the other teams were, got and, kind of creeped up, and we finished fourth place. But we did finish with a winning record. I believe this is the 4th season in a row that we finished with a winning record. First time in 50 years. So, I mean, there are some goods, there are some bads. The offensive line looked decent. Jared Goff, I believe he had 1 or 2 sacks. He had a couple sacks. They got him a couple times. Caleb looked good too. I'll give it to the Bears, but I definitely feel that defense did. They kind of did give up. They had me nervous at the end just a little bit. Giving up 16 in the fourth. We got to get better in the fourth quarter. We got to get better third downs. We got to get better offensive line wise. Yeah, definitely. But all in all, even though the game didn't mean anything, it meant something to us people. We wanted to at least complete a sweep. So we swept Chicago. Chicago going in the playoffs. They can say that they are right, but they got a nasty little taste in their mouth. Because we didn't kick that ass. So,
Yeah.
Good luck, Chicago.
Yeah, I don't feel like Chicago was all the way there yet. I mean, the whole league is wide open right now. Like, there's a chance they could go on a run for sure. But like you said, the Lions, it's unfortunate that they don't make the playoffs in a season like this because there are other years where 9-8 will get you into the playoffs. And when you look at a lot of the stats that the Lions finished the season with, I mean, a top 10-ish team in DVOA, I think potentially top 5, like overall in terms of offense, defense, special teams, all that. Just being a very quality team, being a top 3 scoring offense still. It really was just a lot of them paper cuts, not even paper cuts, but like the ability to manage critical situations, the third downs on offense and defense. When it's third and long and you need to play, Lions couldn't make it. When it was third and long and they needed to stop, the Lions couldn't get it. The fourth downs didn't go their way as much as they did this year as they had in previous years. Like, just those critical situations, the Lions lost a lot in, or in the fourth quarter situations where they just didn't play the way that they, I feel like, played up to their potential in fourth quarters. Um, I think that really was the difference, was just the critical situations. And I think the Lions are going to go into the offseason and hopefully address that via the defensive scheme, via the offensive scheme. There are going to be changes that they make for sure. There's going to be some roster turnover. I think the offense, if they can improve the offensive line, looks promising again next year. The defense will be a little more interesting, but that's what the offseason is kind of for. So there's a lot of potential in this roster. The schedule looks easy. I think it's ranked 29th as far as winning percentage of the teams this season, their records. The teams that the Lions play on their schedule combined to be the 29th most difficult schedule. So bottom five schedule as far as difficulty, which is nice. But also those things change. You never know. Like the Cardinals could jump up next year, or the Jets, or whoever the Lions might be playing. But for now, there's a lot of promise. There's a lot of promise. I think the defense needs to be attacked heavily this offseason, and the offensive line needs to be attacked heavily this offseason.
Yes.
And go from there. I mean, Jared Goff looks like a good quarterback to me. The wide receivers, again, top-notch duo. As we argued with people during the summer, this duo, again, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5th in receiving yards. Jameson Williams, 9th in receiving yards. Both had over 1,100 receiving yards. Like, if Sam Laporta is back, hopefully healthy and good, surpassing an offense that's as explosive as possible. Tesla will be back, obviously making insane, ridiculous big catches. Like, should be explosive. Running backs, all that kind of stuff, got it. The defense, you got to get better on the margins. They got high-level defensive players, but you got to get better on the margins. The run stoppers, the corners, like the guys who have to do the dirty work, they got to be better. The safeties got to be healthy, But there's a path. There's a path to success for next year for sure. Very clear path to success.
Yeah, and then what about, because with Arizona, ain't it a rumor that they are moving up off of Kyler Murray?
Yeah, teams like that are just kind of like, they're stuck in the middle. Like, it's hard to find a way upward with a player like Kyler Murray because he's good enough to where you're never really super bad, but he's not good enough to where he's going to lead you to legitimate success. So I think for them, yeah, it would be smart for them to move off of him, but also his contract is huge, which is why I'm wary of teams whenever they sign the Tuas and the Kyler Murrays to these huge deals when they haven't proven much. Though for some teams like a Jacksonville, it ends up working out. I thought Trevor Lawrence's contract was kind of crazy, but now they're a top 3 seed in the AFC, so sometimes it works. But yeah, teams
But is
like
Trevor
that.
Lawrence going to be one and done?
I don't think that's the point, I guess. I think the fact that he has played good means a lot. He really has improved in the second half of the season. So that team is a threat. But again, that's the risk of signing these quarterbacks who could be good but haven't proven to be consistently good to these kind of contracts. But it's some interesting teams they'll play. Tennessee is also a very interesting team because Cam Ward looks good, but the rest of the team looks horrible. They have no head coach. Like, it could be, you could be getting anything from these teams next year. So I don't want to pencil that kind of stuff in as a win, but again, it looks very, very favorable. The Jets, they had some stats that just were insane. They finished the season with no interceptions, which I
No
just
interceptions. That's crazy.
Absolutely insane. Like, Garrett Wilson, I think, finished the season as their leading receiver. His last game was like October 12th. Like, that's absurd. That is really bad. But again, you don't know. Like, the Jets could perk up next year. Like, they got a lot of draft picks. Then Aaron Glenn might be hopefully on the Dan Campbell path of struggle first year, figure it out second year, get better, like take the next step the third year. You never know. But again, the path to success looks favorable. But the Lions got to do the things they got to do.
Yeah, I definitely feel. Also, what about the cornerback situation? I think we need to address that too. Maybe somebody to compete with DJ Reader.
Yeah, there's a lot that could go on at that position because, for one, I like Terrion Arnold. I don't think his play is what I'm concerned about. I think the injury stuff, because he has gotten injured a lot in his first couple of years. I think he's talented. I think he can be a good cornerback. I think he was playing like a good cornerback, but the health is the concern with him. Amik Robertson, I'm pretty sure his contract is up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming Lions would have some interest in potentially bringing him back, but also it depends on the market and what scheme changes and what we're planning to move into. I think they do need to invest something in that position. I don't think it needs to be a young player though. I think it needs to be a veteran. Because Rakestraw. Hopefully, Rakestraw will be back next year. Like, you got young guys, you got Whiteside and some of those guys that played good reps this year. Hallett. I think a veteran cornerback. I think Rock Ya-Sin needs to be back for sure. I thought he was the Lions' best cornerback this year, if I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
I
He
like
needs to
him.
be back. He might have earned himself a pay raise, honestly. Hopefully they can afford to bring him back. Because, yeah, I thought he was the Lions' best corner. DJ Reed's going to be back because second year of the deal, like money-wise, it just makes sense. But, I do think I would just bring the Meek back. I'm not going to lie. I think that Reed, Arnold, Ya-Sin, and Robertson would be probably the guys that I would bring back. And hopefully Rakestraw can also, take some steps forward or potentially just stay healthy. He hasn't had the chance to really play because he's also had 2 seasons in injury. So I don't mind going into the season with those guys as the top 5 corners. But if guys struggle, you got to have that leash ready to go. Because Reed did
Mm-hmm.
struggle a lot. And I don't know if it's schematic. I don't know if it's talent. I really don't know. And that's what Kelvin Shepard is going to have to figure out because some stuff was just not working with the secondary this year.
I think I would like to see a veteran brought in. I would like to see some competing going on. I think we should.
But
But
does the veteran look like a Ya-Sin kind of veteran, or does it look like somebody else?
Ya-Sin or somebody else, I'm okay with the field. I think we should play the field and see who we can land. Um, like because with the injuries also, and then with some things that I would say with Rocky Sin and maybe always with a Meek, but guys got beat, man. And it's like I think we need some competition. We need some rev up some competition at that position.
Yeah,
That
I think in,
secondary.
in particular, some athleticism would be nice. Because Amik is talented, but Amik is small. DJ Reed is also not very big at all. He's pretty small himself. Ya-Sin is decent size, and he definitely is a really good tackler. But Terrion's kind of the only decent sized corner in that room. I would love to see them bring in like a height speed kind of guy. Maybe somebody that's a little bit raw, but like provides more size, a little bit more resistance on the outside. Because Reed going up against somebody like Puka, where it's like Puka's a great route runner, but then also if you cover him well, which he did, he still will just catch the ball over you because he's also bigger than you. I think the Lions need to maybe find some better matchups in the secondary for sure. But honestly, I'm not as worried about the corner position as I am the safety position. So, um, the secondary and the defensive line is kind of what needs to be figured out. And they got pieces, they got high level guys again. But how do you feel in the margins? Because if those high level guys go down, you start to see the stuff that you saw this season where they, like in the Rams game, for me, the run game was the issue. Puka gonna get his, Stafford gonna get his, Devontae gonna get his. Why are you getting just bulldozed by the Rams in the run game? That was just, it was bad. It was really bad. So it's a lot to address on the defense. Maybe guys just got to play better. Maybe we got to make some moves. McNeil coming back from injury. Maybe he'll be better fully back from injury. Maybe Makai Wingo can get some more snaps. He looked pretty good against Chicago. I'm assuming DJ Reader will not be back. But we'll see.
Yeah, what was I about to say? With the safety position, Kirby and Branch. Branch needs a new contract, right?
It's not up, but I think next year might be the last year. And then they had the option. Actually, they don't get the 5th year option because he wasn't a first round pick. So I think next year is the last year, and he would be due for an extension. And that is complicated. It's very complicated because that draft class was just so good. The Lions almost overdrafted because you got Jameer in that draft class. You got Jack Campbell in that draft class. They do have fifth-year options. You obviously bring those guys back. Those will be exercised like that. But you picked Branch in the second round, and you also picked Laporta in the second round of that draft. And, I mean, the salary cap, I don't even know if it's real, to be honest. Like, teams manipulate it so much that who knows. But you got to pay Goff a lot of money. You got to pay St. Brown a lot of money. You gave J-Mo the extension, Sewell the extension, Kirby Joseph $20 million a year extension as well. So I don't. Hutchinson is. They did extend Hutch, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he got the big dollars. Yeah, he got the $40 million a year. So yeah, somebody is going to fall by the wayside, and I can't imagine it being Gibbs or Campbell. Especially considering running backs just don't demand as much money, and neither do linebackers. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't. Maybe Branch is playing for a new contract next year. I mean, who knows? Or maybe they do get an extension done at a lower rate because he got injured. I have no clue what the Lions be looking at. We don't know what his timetable is because he had suffered an Achilles injury. Could be 9 months, could be 12 months, could be 15 months. We have no clue. So yeah, the safety position it's interesting because that duo, when they're healthy, is as good as any duo in the league, but they're not. And Kirby Joseph's knee injury, we don't know what the hell is going on with that knee. Like, is that a long-term thing or is it just this season? Yeah, they got a lot to figure out.
They kind of tight-lipped on it, really, with the knee.
Very,
It's
which
not really
isn't
clear.
Yeah, which isn't good to hear necessarily, which is why I'm saying the corners, I'm fine with bringing back those guys and letting the cream of the crop rise. Because I think between Reed, Arnold, Amik, Jasiah Sin, Rakeshaw, even Khalil Dorsey, like Whiteside, those guys, you should be able to find a combination of three guys at all times to play nickel coverage on the field. Um, but the safeties, it really is going to come down to health. Like, if those guys are healthy, you're good. If they're not, you're not. I like Avonte Maddox, but again, he was a 1-year deal, so we don't know if he's coming back.
Yeah, probably. Well, I guess it's hard to say. It's kind of early now. The season just ended. I guess we got to see who else gets released, on the market to see. Because my thing is, okay, if we try to move on to somebody else, okay, who's pretty much out there? Now, speaking of moving on, looks like Detroit is moving on from their offensive coordinator, Johnny Morton. The Lions decided to part ways as of a couple hours ago. So the Detroit Lions are in need of a new offensive coordinator. I know there's been a couple names thrown out. Is there anybody you would like to see Detroit bring in as the new offense coordinator? And should we be looking for a new defensive coordinator?
For one, no, or the defensive coordinator. I think Kelvin Shepard deserves more time. And I like him as a defensive coordinator. I just think the Lions have to find a way to marry the coverage with the pass rush. That is the biggest issue. And the run defense needs to get back to where it was too. But I think Kelvin Shepard deserves more time. As far as the offense, I do think the Lions need to shoot big. For a name, I think they need somebody that is either a creative offensive mind because they just have too many weapons to be vanilla on offense, or they need somebody who I think is really strong with emphasizing creative concepts in the run game. Because I do think that still needs to be the Lions' bread and butter is being able to run the ball, especially if we are hopefully planning to bring David Montgomery back. So,
Yeah, rumors on
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I think Montgomery should be back, and I hope that he's back. But I know that there were rumors of unhappiness, whatever. We'll see. He's on a roster right now, so I'm counting on him hopefully being back next year.
Well, as of a couple hours, it kind of looks like they were saying he wrote his goodbye message to Detroit
Who said that?
on his Instagram. David Montgomery.
No, I'm saying who said that was a goodbye message.
Well, the way he worded it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a lot that you can look at when it comes to that.
Now, I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, I think when you have Jameer Gibbs and if you don't have David Montgomery, the Lions will probably pursue another quality running back. You have an elite running back in Gibbs. You have at least a quality running back in David Montgomery or whoever else you bring in. They need to be creative when running the ball. So obviously Cliff Kingsbury is the hot name. I like the idea of Cliff Kingsbury because he is creative, because he has always managed offenses that seem to be productive. I do question scheme fit a little bit, like what he likes to do, because if you think of Cliff Kingsbury, who do you think of him coaching? Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, Kyler Murray in Arizona, Jaden Daniels in Washington. All those guys have something in common, and it is something that Jared Goff does not do, and that is move. Uh, so that is the concern, is him designing the offense around a fully pocket passer. Obviously, Mahomes can be a pocket passer. Jaden Daniels can be a pocket passer. But those guys also can move and do read option and all these other things that give you other looks. So can he manage an offense like that? I'm trying to think back to his time. Has he really managed a quarterback that is like that? I don't really know. But I also think that with the speed and talent the Lions have on the offensive side of the ball, he seems smart enough to be able to figure it out. So I do think he would be a home run hire. It may be a little bit of an adjustment for him, but I think he would be a home run hire. I think Kevin Stefanski is probably going to end up with another head coaching job, but he is a proven guy as far as an offensive mind. I'm not a fan of him as a head coach. I don't necessarily know about him as a leader of men, but as an offensive mind, I do think that he's also high level. Like, he's proven himself coach of the year in the NFL, like head coach of the year a couple of times. Though that's never really led to any like playoff success or anything. But I think Stefanski would be a good hire. He is a guy that knows football, and I think he would do a really good job managing the Lions offense. And then another name that I saw brought up on Twitter recently was Todd Monken, who was the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. The Ravens obviously fired John Harbaugh just a couple of hours ago. I think Todd Monken would be a pretty interesting hire. I do think that Baltimore's offense seemed to improve. I think there were still some weird things going on with like the personnel and all that, but I feel like that was more of a Harbaugh issue than I feel like it was a Monken issue. So he would be a pretty interesting hire too, because he can oversee a really versatile run game. But again, another guy who I think maybe prefers a quarterback that moves around more than Jared Goff. We'll see. But those three guys are the first guys that come to mind. I don't want the Lions to hire somebody who was more of like an afterthought. I don't want to say John Morton was an afterthought, but I don't think he was the first person on a lot of people's minds. And it turned out to be kind of a weak hire, unfortunately. So I think shooting for the stars would be a really good move for the Lions. This offense is too talented to not have somebody that can utilize these guys. Like, it took too long to get Jameson Williams going this season. I'm glad they did get him going this season, but he should have had a lot more receiving yards, to be honest. Like, it's a 1A, 1B kind of thing in the Lions wide receiver room, in my opinion, and it needs to be treated as such.
Yeah, for Jameson not to be even get going until later on, yeah, and still end up with 1,000 yards, I believe, off of 65 receptions. But I mean, that's J-Mo for
1,117
you.
yards. Yeah, like
That's J-Mo
extremely
for you. The boy
talented.
can fly.
Yeah, and it's like, if he can fly, why are we not having him fly? Like, and it doesn't just have to be go straight down the field, 50-yard touchdown. Like, run across there, give him some screens, give him some slants. Like, and they started to do that later in the season, and they started to reap the benefits. You can get him and St. Brown the ball. They should both be having 90-ish yards, I think, per game, just or maybe a different amount of catches. So yeah, somebody that can utilize them both would be really nice. I think either way, Dan Campbell will have a strong influence on it, and I think he should. But I would love to see him manage the offense. I mean, the team, just the day-to-day kind of install and, the in-game situations, like all that kind of stuff. I would rather see him stay focused on that versus calling the plays
Yes.
full time. Yeah, I mean, I think he did a good job calling the plays. I did, but every now and then it just was a struggle between that and everything else. Like, I just would prefer that he has a say so over what goes on the offense, but he trusts somebody else to actually call the plays.
Yeah, I definitely feel he did decent. I'm not gonna say good. I'm not gonna say bad. There were some things I'm like, I think we should have took the points, especially us going 0 for 5, fourth down against Philadelphia. Even the Chicago game, the clock management. Um, Also with them doing that trick play on 3rd and 1. So it was some questionable things, but other than that, after he took over, the offense did look better. I will say that. I'll definitely say that I will want him more so managing the game, clock management, timeout management. Yeah, definitely he should be more focused on that instead of that and play calling. I think a lot was sat on his lap. So it would be nice to get a nice big proven name at offensive coordinator. I mean, it ain't got to be a Ben Johnson mind, but we need somebody that is damn good, just as good as Ben Johnson. Because, I mean, people can say whatever they want about Ben Johnson, but
He's
he
a
was good.
fantastic
He
coach.
was good.
He's a fantastic coach. He is, and you just cannot take that
Yeah,
away from him. You
he
can't.
got he
Like,
got the boys looking good. He had us looking good. So, you know, people can say what they want, but I definitely feel that we need definitely a big name. We need a big name. We need a better than a Ben Johnson. We need to swing for the fences. We need a nice name
yeah,
because that offense, it looked good, obviously, this season, and there were some moments that I didn't like. But I think with the right coordinator, offensive coordinator, I think we'll be ready to go. What, September at this point, late August, we'll be ready to go. It's just so sad because we don't get to see Detroit. It's so sad. But it's all right.
yeah. We've gotten spoiled the past couple years now, seeing us in the playoffs and having high expectations in the playoffs. But I think it's good for the team. I do think that it's good for them to maybe have to sit out and watch and really like not take this opportunity for granted. Like the fact that your season ends in early January just is not where I think this team belongs, and I think they realize that. And it's going to be a lot of work that goes into offseason, and they're going to have a lot of buy-in from the same players and new players and whatever. But I do believe. I mean, as a Lions fan, it's easy to be cynical. It's easy to be down just because of the Lions' history as a franchise. But this is a team that is just they are different. They are different. Whether they end up winning the Super Bowl over these next few years with this core, who knows? But this is a team that is capable. And this is a team that we don't need to be down on unnecessarily. Like they had an off year, they did, compared to their regular standards. But I got a lot of faith in them. And again, a lot of the other teams in the city are holding us up. So it's like, all right, well, let's put our energy behind them, and then hopefully the Lions can bounce back next year, and we can have multiple championship contending teams in the city. Um, but I still like this Lions team. I still love Dan Campbell as a head coach. I have no questions about his ability to lead this team to success. You just got to do it. Just got to get over the hump. Got to get over the hump.
Yeah, we just gotta do what we gotta do. Obviously, more things will be coming down the pipeline. That was the recap of the season finale of the Detroit Lions. Swept the Bears. Fired our offensive coordinator. So we gotta bring in a new one. Of course, we'll be whichever one they pick. Next man up, whoever they pick. Obviously, we'll be covering that. We'll be covering the offseason, the draft, any signings, any battles on offense, defense. We here to stay, people. We are here to stay. But yeah, we are here to stay. You can follow us on TikTok, anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Check us out. Like, comment, subscribe. If you do want to come on this podcast, you do want to collab, you want to talk some football, we can. We can. Don't get too crazy on here, but we can. But yeah.
No.
So that wraps up our time. We'll be back sometime next week. We'll also be covering the playoffs. We'll be doing reactions on TikTok, you know, just posting, just keeping it fun, keeping it light with y'all. You will be seeing our faces.
Real quick
All
before
right.
we go, give give me a Super Bowl prediction before the playoffs start.
Ooh, Super Bowl. Okay. I guess NFC. Because the Seahawks, that's NFC.
Yes.
Yeah, Seahawks, NFC. AFC, I'm going to be honest. The Patriots look pretty good. They look pretty good. I know everybody don't got no confidence in Drake May that he'll take them all the way. Obviously, he's second year. They look pretty good. I don't know. That could be my pick.
Yeah, they're interesting. I don't know if I believe in their high level talent. Like I think we put them up against a team like the Lions, for example. I think the Lions' high level talent like shows out more. But the Patriots are quality. They are a good team. They do play really well together. Um, but I'm not a believer. I'm not gonna lie, not yet.
Who your
um,
Super Bowl prediction?
I part of it is with my head and part of it is with my heart. I like Houston to come out of the AFC. I do. Um,
What?
their defense is like legit. Like they really play great defense. They take the ball away from you. They play lockdown man coverage. They rush the passer. Like they play legitimate defense. Now the offense is iffy. It is. But who do they have to beat? I mean, Denver? Not scared of Bo Nix. I'm sorry, I'm not. Like Denver's defense is also really good. But I like the formation of Houston's defense more than I like Denver's. I don't believe in New England. I don't. Jacksonville, like, Pittsburgh, like, knock it off. Now, I will say earlier in the season, I did put my faith behind Pittsburgh, and I did turn out to be right about that. I said Aaron Rodgers was going to get them to the playoffs, and I was right about that. I don't think he's getting them far, though. I don't think that they have to make up either. So, I like Houston. I really
Texans
do.
and that offensive line.
It's not a good offensive line, but I think if they can score
Bad.
enough, they got to score enough. But I think it's about teams having to score on them. I think in the playoffs, that defense plays up like it really does. Um, so I like Houston. And in the NFC, my pick is probably controversial. In the NFC, too, I like what Seattle is doing. I think Seattle's defense is also outstanding. But again, with Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold having to play against a team like Philly and their defense, he's not going to have a good game. It's just not going to happen. I think Philly figures out whatever the hell is going on in their offense, and I think they win the NFC. I do. Their issue is the offensive line. Like that is the issue. And while you don't just magically fix that, I think if they could adjust and correct a little bit, and utilize their guys on the outside a little bit more, um, I think that again, defense wins championships, and Philly and Houston have some nasty defenses. Seattle does too, and Denver does too. I think those are probably the four teams that I look at the best. But um, it's wide open. It's wide open. There's no like dominant, overwhelming favorite in my opinion. I again with Seattle, I just they don't scare me. But I love Mike Macdonald. Mike Macdonald's a fantastic head coach. Mike Macdonald was huge at University of Michigan. Again, obviously, I love the Michigan guys. He's a great mind, like an outstanding defensive mind. But I don't see it. I don't see it with Seattle.
I kind of see you in Seattle. Seattle, to me, has the best defense in the league right now. I think they're playing the best defense in the league. Seattle. I definitely feel so. Now, can they get Sam Darnold on the ground?
I think Seattle can be beat on the outside. I do. That's really the issue. Is I think if you facing AJ Brown, a Devontae Smith, like if Jalen Hurts can get some time, which is a big if, but if he can get some time, I think he's beating those guys enough to score enough points. And that Eagles defense, when they are locked in, they are filthy. Like they do everything on every single level. So I like the defensive teams. I like the defensive teams.
Okay, so your prediction is Philly and Houston.
Yeah.
Mine is New England and Seattle.
Yeah. I just like those two teams.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the high level talent. I am like your best players, and I think Houston's best players. I really like their best players. I really like Stingley. I really like the pass rushers like Will Anderson and those guys. Like Nico Collins.
They
I really like
nice.
Nico Collins. Yeah, they are, and I just am not a believer in New England's best guys. Like Stephon Diggs, he had a good season. He had a really good season, but
1,000 yards,
I don't know.
4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, I had him on my fantasy team, and he led me to that championship. But you know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think it's gonna be a defensive Super
We'll
Bowl. I think it's gonna
see.
be a defensive. I think it's gonna be a low scoring playoffs.
We'll see. That's our predictions, people. We'll be back next week. Shout out to the Detroit Pistons. They did beat the Knicks last night by 31. I'm hoping to see the Pistons and New York Knicks in the playoffs again, and I'm hoping that we get that win. We ready for that get back. Shout out to all Detroit teams. Thank you for sticking with us through the whole season. It is the off season. We about to kick our feet up and enjoy being in Cancun like y'all is.
All right. With that being said, peace out. Be on the lookout for more episodes. We'll be back soon.
Peace.